All right, good people. Welcome back for another edition of Kingland Conversations, man. Where we just, like to have discussions and talk about different things. Sometimes they're rough topics. Sometimes they're easy topics. Sometimes they're topics that bust you across the head. But you just never know what you're going to get when you're listening to the Three Kings. But, and as always, we are available anywhere and everywhere that you listen to podcasts. So just hit us up on Google and you'll find us. Also, if you're into the social medias, we do have a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram account as well. So go there, follow that. You'll get some more inside information, I guess is what I would call it. Like today, I posted a quick photo just of what the studio looked like from my vantage point, at least. So that people knew that we were getting ready to record today and, make it a great time. But tell your friends to tell their friends. And as always, I'm Alan.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Twine, a.k.a. Alfredo. Ask me about my podcast.
It's your friend, your mentor, Calvin D. Hill. He cut it off. All right. Before we get started, I want to say, hey, man, appreciate your families and your loved ones. The last few weeks, I'm sorry, I should have said something earlier. Last few weeks, we had a couple deaths in the family. So pray for us, pray for all of us, pray for your family and all that other good stuff.
Did you get
Orion,
closure?
we love you, huh? Man. Woo. Hey, it ain't mine. It ain't mine. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question.
Like, hey, to me, well, all right.
That was the topic for the day.
I need a Twilight. Oh, I do have one. Hang on.
Hey, man, look. That baby was like, this is me. Hey, man, I got a problem. I'll deal with it. I'm going to counseling.
That's why I had a conversation with you last night.
I'm going.
Because for whatever reason, I was concerned. I was no exaggeration, no comedy involved. I was concerned.
Callous.
Okay, moving on. Hey, I spoke my piece. You know where I'm coming from, so that's all I want to do. I got it off my chest, and I have closure. Alan, what's the topic for today, man?
So today we are talking about getting paid what you are worth.
Interesting.
And I mean, to me, so here's the problem. Like, I think this is going to be really a tough topic for most people, only because it. Go ahead.
I think it's tough with people with a job. With a job, this is a tough conversation. Now, go ahead.
I think parts of it are gonna be tougher because it's the same for people in business. You get so the premise. Let's lay out the premise for people.
Okay, there you go.
Is that at work, at your job, you're gonna get paid what society, not what you think you're worth, but what society has deemed that you're worth. The problem that you have is that most jobs is gonna buy you at wholesale and sell you at retail. So they're gonna buy you with a salary at less than what they make off of your production in some respects because they kind of have to. If they paid you what you really were worth, then they may not be able to stay in business because they wouldn't be able to earn a profit off your labor. So unless you work for the municipality, like you work for the government, you essentially are being paid based on whatever that company sells to society. And that's where your income comes from. But at the same time, if you're a business owner, you also are going to get paid what society deems that you're worth. Not necessarily what you believe you're worth, not necessarily what you think should happen. The way that our society works currently is that you get paid what other people think you're worth.
Well, okay.
That is true.
Yeah, I understand that and I see that. But with a business owner, you can kind of dictate how much.
You can.
They give you a price point value to whatever else. Yeah, the market and all that determines the value of your service.
Yeah,
or
the
product.
market still dictates how much you're worth.
But you, as a business owner, can get more.
You can if you become more valuable to the market.
So you still back in, like you said, you still back at
so,
okay.
So if two people in the same place, like let's say for an example, because I do clothes. So if there's a business selling the exact same clothes that I sell, and they make $1 million a year, you know, with everything being equal, which it never is, but everything being equal, they make $1 million a year, and I make 100,000. It's because that other business to the marketplace is more valuable. They might have the product might be worse. The person running it might be a jerk, but to the marketplace, they have determined that it's more valuable. It's the only reason why Apple can charge, because they were the first one to do it, can charge $1,000 for a cell phone. Because the people that buy their products have determined that this company is valuable enough for me to spend really $1,000 into this product. But I can almost guarantee you that anybody could make a better phone. But the market hasn't determined that phone is worth $1,000, so they can only sell it for $300.
That's a bold statement.
So that's the whole premise behind it. That no matter what I think that I'm worth, no matter what I think my value is, so the marketplace as a business owner is going to tell you what they think your value is. And if you're going to a job, you know what the value is that they put on that position, regardless of the person that's in it. Because especially if you work for a government, everybody has a publicly viewable salary.
Okay.
So I don't
have a contest. That's the problem. This is the problem. I don't have a contest because you're right. You're right. But at what point do you say, okay, I am worth more? I am worth more than the $15 an hour to cook this food or to do this. At what point do you say, all right, I can make more than this?
I don't know that. Well, go ahead, Zoe. You got something?
Uh-oh.
That question to me is redundant.
Why?
It's repulsive. And I'll tell you why. How you going to say, well, first of all, when y'all probably already said this, but I kind of zoned out a little bit. I ain't going to lie. But
it's the Dr. Pepper.
It is the Dr. Pepper. So did y'all explain that when you're working at a job, they have a cap in which they're willing to pay people? So if you go into that, he said this.
Yeah.
Okay.
He pretty much said that.
Okay.
Not
Right,
those exact words, but he said that.
Okay. So then at that point, if you're not getting paid what you think you're worth, then maybe you should go and put some more things under your belt, experience, or some other things that could help you accumulate more to get paid closer to what you're worth.
Okay. Agreed. I agree. But what motivates you to? What gets you to see that? That's what I'm saying. Like how? Okay, with this, I'm gonna stick to myself, my own personal issues. Okay, I know I have X skills. Okay, I know I can do this, that, the third. I was at one job getting paid, let's say $10. This is low. It wasn't that. Couldn't live off that. But let's say I was getting $10. But I would go to a different company, doing less work, getting paid more.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because the level of responsibility changed. In the working field, as far as working for somebody else.
So that determines that your value at the workplace or responsibilities determine your pay at that job.
Correct. I would think so.
So what I would take from that, I would say, at what level I can manage problems,
right,
determines the level I can get paid.
If you're talking about a 9 to 5, yeah, the
better problem solver I am,
or not even 9 to 5,
or the better problem solver I am, the more valuable I am. That's what y'all telling me.
Increase your value.
Increase
your worth and value. Yeah.
So the people that are listening have to become better problem solvers, including ourselves, at their workplace.
In life, what do you mean?
So here's the thing. Yes, you do need to become a better problem solver because yes, you will then become, at least in my view, you will become more valuable to the marketplace. The problem though still is, as long as you have a job, you're still relying on somebody else to dictate that value. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a job, but as long as it is a job, somebody else dictates that value. So for an example, if I decide to become a better problem solver, I think I'm already fully qualified to be in this position my supervisor is in, however my supervisor occupies it. I know what that salary is before. Mm-hmm. And so if I feel like I'm worth more than what that salary is, then I have to look elsewhere if I want to. I have to essentially keep looking to find somebody who I feel is paying me what I feel like I'm worth. If that is the goal.
If that's the goal, and that's the big key. If that's the goal, because then you like you said, somebody has to tell me how much I'm worth, and if I feel like I'm worth $20 an hour, I have to go find somebody that pays me $20 an hour. Right. Basic.
That is true.
Basic. Okay. So if I feel like I'm worth $50 an hour,
then what should you do?
Then I need to go find a job that pays me that amount.
If it exists,
and I'm saying that for a reason.
You in your field. The problem is
here we go.
The problem is your chosen field may also put a cap put a cap on what your earning potential even is, because it is no secret that, so say for example somebody who's in IT mm-hmm. would have a far higher cap generally than someone who's in education if that person in education doesn't start their own business. Because if you're relying on the school system to pay you, they will never pay you what somebody in IT can earn in private industry. Because if you're the CTO for some of these really large companies, you can be earning millions of dollars a year as a CTO. And unless you own your own school, you're not going to do that in education. Or unless you build a business, some kind of business where you offer your own mental capital, your own thought process, your own stuff to other people. Then you can match that. So essentially, business is the only way you can match. You can have an unlimited earning potential. Everybody else is going to say no. You can only make $37 an hour in this profession.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. But I don't. Do you think that's fair? That's a simple question.
It's a world of capitalism. It's not built to be fair.
It is not. It is built to exploit the worker. Capitalism is built to exploit the worker.
Everybody's a worker at some point. All of us are workers, and all of us are trying to.
Well, then if you here's the thing, and this sounds terrible, but if you are a worker, then prepare to be exploited. That is the street you live on. You live on Exploitation Boulevard and Capitalism Avenue.
So we're getting pimped out.
Yeah. Only difference is they not named Slickback.
I'm gonna go there.
They are not named Slickback. That's all. Because your pimp is providing your health care. They're providing your retirement.
Yeah.
All you got to do,
show up,
is get out there on that field.
Get out there on that field.
Day's almost over. Master got me working.
All of us are there. Well, not all of us, but many of us are there. And I think a lot of people have that sense of not getting paid what you were.
And here's the thing. If you are there by choice,
mm-hmm.
that's okay. Because you can choose to do or not do anything you want to do. If you are there by accident, you can be there by accident because you don't know that you're there. Right, because in our society especially, so in less than 100 years, we went from a society where most everybody, in some respect, owned their own business. They might, or they were independent. They might have been a blacksmith. They could have been an apprentice at a blacksmith, but they essentially controlled their own destiny, so to speak. Now that may not have made them better off financially, but they controlled their own destiny. And then somewhere around the Industrial Revolution, when we started getting all these factories, it was when everybody went to work.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, you can blame the Ford company for starting this whole idea of an 8-hour workday and an assembly line process. Because prior to that, it wasn't a thing. Everything was made by hand, one at a time, and now you had an assembly line. And that was now the benefit to that was how they would get able to get the Ford car down to where the average person could afford it with a year's worth of salary. But the trade-off was that you traded your freedom for that.
Do you feel like we still trading our freedom for something like that?
If you go to work and do something that you don't enjoy, yes.
Well, even if you enjoy it,
You are trading some level of freedom, but
building on somebody else's idea or in somebody else's financial gain. So either way.
Well, I heard somebody say having a job or that potential to earn money is your greatest asset because you can take that money and you can invest it or change it into some kind of passive income. So this is a great opportunity for you to take that hard-earned money and do something positive with it.
Except
what, Alan?
here is the problem. I was talking about this yesterday with the same person that came up with the other topic, who is Mark Johnson. He's been coming to the gym. Shout out to Mark Johnson for staying committed to that gym life. But we were talking about minimum wage and how because I don't, and we've talked about on this podcast, I don't believe that if you have a job, the opportunity today is the same as it was 50 years ago. I believe you have less opportunity as a person with a job today. Now, you may have the opportunity to work more places as an African American, but in terms of what you earn, I believe your earning potential has been decreased. And that's shown out in the facts because when minimum wage was instituted, it was a certain rate. The only way, but based on inflation, today, minimum wage was $2.38, I think, in 1968 or something like that. But we can look it up. And people at home can also look it up. It's public record.
Fact check. Look it up.
Fact check. Bars. Today, based on inflation, minimum wage should be $24 an hour. But we all know that it is not. I mean, they're lobbying to get it to be 15. But if we were to keep up with the inflation rate and keep up with what things cost from 1968 to today, because even the house that I live in, and I've said it before, the house I live in was $78,000 in 1978, 2,500 square foot home, nice, little bit of grass, garage, driveway, 2 driveways. Today, that house is going to be a minimum of $350 with no renovations. But yet minimum wage went from $2.38 to $7.15. Now they're lobbying for it to be. You can't live here on $15 an hour.
What year was that?
1968. For the house.
Oh yeah, no, I looked at no.
Okay, yeah, minimum wage. Yeah, 1968. Yeah.
160.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
in some
incorrect.
states. In some states,
so
it's not all. In some
$1.60.
states.
And based on inflation, it should be far higher than what they're even lobbying for it to be. And of course, the argument is that business owners can't afford it. Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
That's that. well then go. Then what you want me to tell you?
And that's why a lot of companies are going overseas to get
So
that.
So the basic concept is to get a better job skill. Get a better skill to get paid what you feel like you're worth.
I mean,
because I think for a lot of people, it may be a self. What?
Go ahead.
A pride thing. It's what do you think I'm worth? You know what I mean? When you say because I
asking somebody else what you're worth is a problem to me.
It definitely is.
You should have a sense of self-worth first before you go out here in the world thinking that, okay, I'm worth $1 million, but
are you going to take the responsibility to make that $1 million? That's my issue.
I understand.
This is my issue.
Yeah, I get that, but then that would also say, society says, because the problem is whatever you make, whatever that number is what society has said. So whether you're a business owner or whether you have a job, the number comes from what society says the value is that you bring to the marketplace in that position that you're in. So yeah, people should seek to increase this. I think at least people should seek to increase their skills. However, you also have to look at the industry that you've chosen to be a part of. Right. Because if you've chosen an industry, like you could be, because I was talking to a guy, and this is for all the younger people out there. This is Well, I was talking to a guy never been to college. He was an HVAC technician, and as an HVAC technician, even working for a company, he was making about $200,000 a year. They did commercial buildings. So to me that says, okay, so if you desire to be in a trade, you can still earn a significant income no matter what you do, but that's still a skill. And anybody that's an HVAC technician will tell you that it's definitely a skill, but it's no different than somebody who is a plumber. I think what our society, though, has done is we have made it so that essentially people look down upon people who don't have a college degree, not realizing that you can
still to have the same skills.
You can have
skills just as valuable.
Yeah, your skills are just as valuable, sometimes more valuable, especially as more and more people leave those trades.
Well, I feel.
Because the guy that came and did the electrical work here at my house, he was $100 an hour.
Ooh. Skill.
Because that's what the marketplace determined his skill is worth.
Yeah,
and that was just him. I mean, he could have obviously been higher than that. He could probably charge more, but that's what he determined his value was to the marketplace based on the skills that he had, was $100 an hour, and it is difficult at best to find a job that pays $100 an hour.
Yeah, you're not gonna find that.
Not unless you have to have O behind your title. CTO, CFO, CEO. You're gonna have to have an O behind that. Because that would be, let me do that math for you. So 100 times 2,080 hours, which would be full time, be $208,000 a year.
But I think that's a lot of people's problem at the same time, because your self-confidence, how you feel about you, kind of makes you have that sense of value that I'm worth this.
Yeah.
It's not my job. It's just this is what I feel like I'm worth. And we commonly get that confused with, no, my skills are worth this.
Yeah.
Not my pride and my confidence. My confidence and my self-worth is here. But my actual job skills or what I can do,
Which you
maybe, So sometimes we have to look at it that way too.
Well,
and kind of be honest with yourself. Because like you said, if you chose a field that the max earning or max salary or whatever is $50-something thousand a year, then guess what? That's the best you can do in that field.
But most people in that situation do it because they love doing it. They have a passion for things like that.
Man,
is that safe to say?
No, because I know a lot. No, I know a lot of people that hate their job, not good at it, not interested in it, but they just do it because it pays the bills. I am guilty. I am very guilty.
Guilty.
Yeah, because my niche, what I'm good at, the personality test, and everything else is completely opposite of what I do. 9 to 5, 4 in the morning until 2, 3.
Evil.
So wait,
early
say-
wake up.
Completely opposite.
When you completely opposite of what? What
Yeah,
was you saying?
all right. So
the
like,
test? What do you
yeah. We take
Yeah, they got
we got
personality
personality
tests
tests and everything else. When I
okay.
was in school, going TCC or whatever, and I had to take these different tests to tell me what I was good at. Naturally, like this is your niche. This is what you're geared for. This is the way your brain works. This is how you learn. So after doing all that test, and I'm sitting there looking at the results, reading it on paper, nothing matched up to what I did.
living at that moment?
No. It didn't match up with what I did at work to make a living. Everything I did after that lined up with the test. So unless you get that information about yourself first and then go pursue something, most people, like myself, people that join the military, get thrown into an occupation or a skill that they did not like, didn't want. When I joined the Marine Corps, I didn't. They said, hey, we need this. We need you to either blow up bridges, drive a tank, fix a helicopter, or carry this gun. Pick one. So to me, a lot of people just get thrown into a career. Some, not everybody, some.
Yeah.
Get thrown into a career, and that is not what they're good at. That is not their self-worth. That's not their...
It's not the equilibrium.
Yeah,
it's
that
not
is
what they would
not.
What
prefer
test
to
is
be.
that y'all talking about?
Let me find it. I ask
Because I want to go and
yeah.
see. I want to see what it does.
Yeah.
I remember doing that in high school.
Yeah.
I wanted to
You
be a
should take-
basketball player,
No,
but it
you
said,
should-
no,
it's-
you're going to be a coach. I'm like, I don't know.
It's several
But I was
out
terrible
there.
at basketball, so
You,
I started
you
to
might have
understand.
been. Well, I don't know. You was doing all the and one moves though. You was skip, 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 skip.
All of y'all.
You know, you was doing. I was like hot sizzle.
Water.
Yeah. Oh man, but I think that yeah.
And that's one of the things we do at Oh Lord Youth Mentoring. We try to give kids kind of help them find out what their natural
Gifts
are.
Is it personal?
Yeah, it's personality test.
It's gonna be a personality test, but then there's some that
Yep.
give you the personality test along with jobs that fit that personality. So essentially, you can function from who you are all the time instead of having to. Because a lot of people go to work and essentially put a mask on and then go home after that.
Yeah. So don't just want to throw this out here. Don't let your job determine your self-worth, even though some people feel like that is their value.
Yeah.
That might not be true all the time.
It's not true any of the time, really. I mean, if you're looking at self-worth and separating it from what society says you're worth,
Right.
because you should have a your own self-worth, what you feel like who you feel like you are, what you feel like you are, and then that should be separate from what your job is paying you, your business is paying you. But a lot of people tie those together, and I think honestly that capitalism is one of the causes of that. Because for years, because like when people still do it today, they'll ask you what you do for a living, and then based on what you tell them, will judge you based on that.
I had the word, it just slipped me. It was speciality. Basically, the more refined you are in a certain skill determines your value. I can't think of it. Sorry about that, guys. I'm thinking of it.
That's what happens when you turn
But
40.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, happens when you get
Getting
older.
there.
But
Getting there.
so I buy
Specializations.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. So the more you specialize at a certain thing, that raises your value. That's the way we are in 2021. That's kind of how it is in America. You want to develop your skills and get so keen at it, and so great at it, that your value is here, and you have to be paid.
Yeah.
Like you said, electrician, $100 an hour.
an hour.
So
Maybe feel like I wasn't charging enough.
a master electrician probably.
150, 200.
There you go. So that's what you do.
And this stuff, I mean, this stuff is able to be. You can look this stuff up anyway, because there is kind of an average rate that all of these professions charge. I mean, there are people in the IT field that as contractors that you can charge like $250 an hour for your skill set. So it's out there, and companies are willing to pay, but these people are highly specialized generally. So it's but at the end of the day, you're still gonna get.
So give somebody some words of advice on how to get paid what you're worth or what you feel like. Give your own advice of what do you think could increase that or make that better?
Crickets.
I mean,
Come up
so
with-
I think I think that I mean, obviously increasing your one is to me is deciding that maybe depending on what your field is, the traditional way may not get you to what you think you're worth. For an example, I use example again of a teacher, because there are some phenomenal educators out there, and those educators are essentially pigeonholed into what the school system will, into how and what the school system will allow them to deliver the education to the youth. But that doesn't mean that that's the only way they can do it. They can. There are people now today that are in the education field that are selling kits on Etsy, that have businesses selling educational kits for the kids, that are doing quite well, right? You can also, if you have enough capital, start a school of your own. Now that's going to take some time, money, and expertise, but you could start a school of your own. There are a ton of private schools around here. You can start, depending on where you live, you might be able to start a charter school. There are pros and cons to charter schools, but you could, so there are options if you are also willing to take on the risk that comes with those options. But then that goes back to society, paying your business what they feel it's worth.
I like that word.
Risk.
I
mean, anything. The even having a job has risk. So there's risk inherent in everything that you do. The only question is, what is your tolerance for that risk? And some people are just more naturally risk averse than others. And some people, because of their situation, you know, their household situation, may be more risk averse. They're averse than others.
Fonz, you got any advice?
Evaluate what you bring to the table. Just overlapping everything that everyone has said already. So if you think you have not reached or have not gotten what you're worth in regards of whatever career or trade that you have decided to venture in, I suggest putting more under your belt. And what I mean by saying that is, like they were also saying, you have to become the master of whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And in doing so, that would open doors and give you opportunities to get more than what you were receiving before. So you can't be out here just stagnant in your growth, expecting to get paid more than what you're getting now. So I would advise you to take time for growth, take time for learning, and becoming better to the point where you're needed and seeked out. That's all I got.
Anything else we got before we get wrapping it up? You got something else?
I mean, and I may cover this some more in closing, but I mean, essentially, to me, like when we talk about getting paid what you're worth, you got to know the game you're in, right? You can't be on a football field playing with basketball rules. Now, I would be the one to argue. I would be the one to argue that there shouldn't be a game. The game should just be blown up, start over. But unfortunately, we can't. That's not going to happen. We can't do that. Because I would prefer that it was fair and equitable across the board for everybody. Still, I mean, it's still gonna. But no matter what you do, it's still gonna be based on your skills that you bring to the marketplace. But in terms of the system itself, that the system was set up fair and across the board, where people didn't necessarily get favors, where businesses didn't have write-offs that they shouldn't have, because I would argue that all of that then starts to create an us versus them mindset anyway. But anyway, so getting paid what you're worth, just know the game that you're in and know the rules of that game. Because otherwise you can't, if you can't play by the rules, then you don't get to play.
That's a good one.
And you got to be hungry too.
You got to be hungry.
You got to be hungry because
right
it will push you over the ordinary of going and living day to day. It will push you to do more. So, for example, if I was to be a mechanic of any kind, but I felt as if, hey, there's more that I could be doing. My hunger for wanting more and being more has pushed me to other ventures in life. Like, for example, coding or starting a business. Like, you will do more than was asked of you. And if you're not willing to do that, don't expect to get more than what you're receiving in life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You gotta go out there and get it. Like, it's not going to be handed to you. Nothing will be handed to you. And if you think you're not getting paid what you're worth, then you need to turn your phone off while I'm talking. When I'm talking, there's no phones ringing. No, I'm joking. That was good. But, no, it's all good. In closing, man, just be hungry. Go out there and get it, man. Can we cue the music? Calvin, what do you got?
I got nothing to keep your attitude right, man. Check your attitude about how you feel about your own self-worth, your own self-value. If you don't like it, change it. If you don't like the job you're at, go find another one.
I like it.
If you don't think they're paying you what you're worth, let them see why and leave. That's my philosophy. I did it a couple times. Hey,
Hey.
I know my skills. I know what I can do. I know what I should be getting paid for what I do. You can't do it, gone. I'll
All right,
find somebody that can
got
do
you.
it.
Hey, hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Facebook. Hey, I have a question for y'all. Until next time, how do you pronounce sword?
I pronounce it sword.
Sword?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what the people say. Hit us up, man. Let us know. We need some feedback, man. I love y'all, man. We appreciate all of y'all. Thank you.
See y'all next week.
Yeah. Hey.